The padlock clicked shut, and the entire marina froze. Music cut off mid-beat. Half-drunk strangers stared at me through the gate. Behind me, she was already screaming, red-faced, pointing, shouting one phrase over and over. "You can't do this. This is common property." That's when the police lights appeared. 6 months earlier, all I wanted was quiet. I'm not dramatic. I don't look for fights. I work long hours, mind my business, and unwind on the water when everything else gets loud. That's why I bought a townhouse in a small lakeside HOA with a private marina. It was advertised as peaceful, low maintenance, and secure. Assigned boat slips, clear rules, no chaos. At first, it was perfect. Early mornings on glassy water, evenings so quiet you could hear fish breaking the surface. Neighbors waved, but didn't intrude. Everyone seemed to understand the unspoken agreement. You respect the space, and the space respects you back. I paid my dues on time, followed every rule, used my assigned slip exactly as written. I wasn't trying to control anything. I just wanted what I was promised. And for a while, that's exactly what I had. Then there was her, Linda, HOA president, late 40s, always wearing a visor like it was part of her identity. She spoke in policy language, even during casual conversations. The kind of person who loved authority more than responsibility. She didn't own a boat, didn't swim, didn't use the marina, but she controlled it. She loved saying phrases like amenity stewardship and common property, usually while tapping laminated rules with manicured nails. She treated the marina like a throne room and the HOA like her personal kingdom. At first, I barely noticed her. A nod here, a forced smile there. But slowly, I realized something was off. She acted like every space belonged to her personally, like residents were guests in her system. Any concern was brushed off with a smile and a reminder that technically she was in charge. That phrase, technically, would come up a lot, and every time she said it, things got a little worse. The first real problem happened on a Saturday morning. I walked down to the marina early, coffee in one hand, tackle box in the other. My boat was already occupied. 3 strangers were sitting on it, cooler open, laughing like they belonged there. I stood there for a second, honestly confused. I asked if I could help them. One of them said, "Linda said this slip was open." Another was already wearing a life jacket. I checked the slip number. My slip, assigned, exclusive, not shuttered. I told them they needed to leave. They looked annoyed at me, like I was the problem. 2 weeks later, I came back from a short trip to find beer cans in my boat, a melted flip-flop stuck to the deck, something sticky I didn't want to identify. I emailed the HOA. Linda replied. She said they were testing a flexible marina usage model and reassured me my property mattered. I reread that email 3 times. Then I checked the bylaws, and that's when I knew she was lying. Once I started paying attention, I couldn't stop seeing it. Random people claiming they had the gate code, out-of-state plates filling the lot every weekend, groups taking selfies in front of the HOA sign like it was a resort. Whenever residents complained, Linda responded with the same script. Community spirit, shared amenities, you don't own the water. But something didn't add up. One afternoon, I overheard her talking by the pool. She was explaining how it worked to a couple with sunburns and coolers. "Just send the deposit to my Venmo," she said casually. "I add you as registered guests. You get marina access for the weekend." Venmo, deposit, guests. That night, I checked online listings. Sure enough, there were posts advertising private marina access. Message Linda for details. That's when I started documenting everything. Screenshots, photos, videos, dates, times. I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. Because this wasn't mismanagement. It was a business. And she was running it inside our neighborhood. 4th of July weekend was the breaking point. By 9:45 p.m., the marina looked like a public party dock. Boats tied 3 wide where one should have been, music blasting across the lake, kids running on wet boards in the dark, someone trying to light fireworks near the fuel dock. I watched from my balcony, jaw clenched. Then my phone buzzed. My neighbor texted asking if this was allowed. His baby had already been woken up twice. I knew the answer. I also knew if someone got hurt, the HOA insurance wouldn't cover it. And I knew Linda wasn't coming to shut it down because she'd sold the access herself. So I sent one message to Lake Patrol, just facts, no emotion, photos included. Then I walked downstairs. The marina gate was propped open with a rock. The official lock had been vandalized. The closed at 10 p.m. sign was gone. That was it. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I walked in calmly and told everyone the marina was private and closed. And this time, I wasn't asking. Most of the guests complained. A few laughed. One guy said they'd paid for access. I asked who they paid. They said Linda. I told them the truth. They'd been ripped off. This wasn't a commercial marina. They needed to leave. Slowly, grudgingly, they did. Once the dock was clear, I removed the rock, closed the gate, looped my own heavy-duty chain through it, and locked it. The click echoed louder than I expected. That's when headlights hit the lot. A familiar Subaru. The door flew open and Linda stormed out, screaming my name. She demanded I unlock the gate, said I had no authority, said it was common property. She shouted so loud the guests froze behind the fence. I didn't raise my voice. I told her guests were customers. That made this an illegal commercial operation. And then I gestured toward the road, because police lights were already flashing. Her face changed instantly, from rage to panic, and for the first time, she realized she wasn't in control anymore. The deputies listened, calmly, patiently. I showed them everything, messages, listings, photos. Linda tried to laugh it off, claimed she was hosting community events. Then one of the guests admitted they paid her directly, Venmo with emojis. The Lake Patrol officer flipped through a lease agreement and pointed to a clause, no commercial activity. Violation meant permit revocation. Linda went quiet. The deputy noted noise complaints, fireworks, drinking on the fuel dock, all violations of her own bylaws. When Linda tried to accuse me of blocking an emergency exit, the officer shut that down immediately. The gate was required to be locked after hours. My chain was the first responsible decision made that night. She had nothing left to say. 2 weeks later, the emergency HOA meeting was packed. Screens showed transaction records and listings. The county confirmed months of violations. Linda resigned before she could be formally removed. The marina permit was spared, barely. New locks were installed. Real rules enforced. No more guests, no more noise. The lake went quiet again. No one clapped. No one thanked me publicly. And that was fine. I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because sometimes staying calm and standing firm is enough to stop someone who's used to never being challenged. Power only works when people don't question it. Linda counted on silence, confusion, and intimidation. She didn't expect receipts, or patience, or someone willing to say no and mean it. If you're dealing with someone like that, document everything. Know the rules better than they do, and don't lose your cool. Because when authority meets accountability, it usually collapses. The marina is peaceful now, and every time I unlock that gate for myself, I remember. Sometimes the quiet is worth fighting for.